Meeting will come to order, please. From Housing Authority, November 9th, 2016. Roll call, Judy Lee. Present. Rena Richards.
Present.
Rick Kennedy. Lynn Jones. Present. Myself, Mildred Gallione. Executive Director Betty Roach. All present. Okay. Rena, would you read the minutes, please?
The meeting was called to order at 6 p.m. on Wednesday, October 12th, 2016. Board members present were Mildred Gallione, Chairperson, Richard Kennedy, Linda Jones, Judith McGee, Rena Richard. Also present was Betty Roach, Director. Richard Kennedy made a motion to accept the minutes of the September meeting as presented. Linda Jones seconded the motion. The board voted and passed unanimously. Rena Richard made a motion to accept the accounts payable report as presented. Richard Kennedy seconded the motion. The board voted and passed unanimously. Betty reported to the board members that we have 2 vacancies as of now. 1 vacancy was filled and another was transferred to a first floor unit due to a medical request. The board had a vote for new officers. Mildred Gallione was unanimously nominated and voted again for chairperson. Once again, there was a debate over the procedures and requirements for grievance panel. After much discussion, it was decided to contact the Housing Authority's attorney to see if she can come in and speak to us all concerning the requirements of putting together this panel. CRTA. The issue of assigned parking has come up again. I will speak with the attorney and see if she can address the tenants concerning our policy. Briefly spoke to the board and tenants that the Housing Authority will be moving forward in the near future to be smoke-free. I will print up the information that I have received to give them copies, and we will discuss it more at the next meeting. The next board meeting is to be held on November 9th, 2016. The meeting was adjourned at 7:15, submitted by Betty Roach.
Okay. You've heard the minutes of the last meeting. Did anyone note any errors or omissions? If not, I'll take a motion from the floor to accept the minutes as stated.
I make a motion to accept the minutes as stated.
Second the motion.
I second the motion.
The motion has been made and seconded that we accept the minutes as stated. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passed. Okay. Payouts, please.
Those are the checks we just looked at, right? Okay, I move that we approve the payouts for the month.
Second the motion on the payouts, please.
I second the motion.
Motion has been made and seconded that we approve the payouts. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passed. Okay, it's Dan. Your turn.
Good evening.
Budgets and accounts.
I'm here to present your 2017 budgets. I have copies for you. Please note it's still labeled 16, but they are 17.
Okay.
There you go. Coming to information from DHCD, the State Department of Housing. They are allowing us to increase our state budget 3%, cap increase of 3%, that's for routine expenses. In addition, unprecedented, they're giving every housing authority, whether they earn subsidy or not, $200 per unit to do additional extraordinary maintenance work. You just have to identify what it is. That means an additional $8,000 in subsidy here, and $8,000 more we can spend on maintenance. So that's quite a pleasant surprise. all the budget committee meetings they had with the housing authorities over the summer, that was never mentioned. So that is included in the budget, so you're gonna earn $14,000 in subsidy,
That's
8 of it being that.
Yeah.
So we're pretty close to self-sufficient. Your income continues to improve, and utilities, special electricity's done very well. Water, the rates not so much, so unfortunately, if the rates had held for water the last couple of years, you probably wouldn't be earning any subsidy. But you're earning very little, you're almost self-sufficient. Within the 3% cap, you are allowed 3% administrative raises, and you are required to pay the Department of Labor and Industry rate increase, which is always in April. It was last April, that's now in the new budget. We did a budget this time last year. Increased travel based on the fact that there was more attendance at the conference by the board than in the past. So I put some more money in there for you to cover it. Likewise, the conference fees, our registration fees, that's considered an admin other. I increased that also to cover that. Insurance went up slightly. We have two policies. We have workers' comp and we have property. They went up a total of $276. Employee benefits, because employees are both part-time, there's no retirement system, there's no health insurance, there's only payroll taxes. So that went up 2.5%, kind of consistent with the wages. DOI went up 2%, office went up 3%, the average was 2.5%. So the rest of the money, $1,159, that was unbudgeted after everything was fixed that needed to be fixed, went into contract costs, more maintenance. That's where all the money we can have, we would like to put, so we can just continue to maintain the properties, take care of vacancies. So that's where it went. So now your budget is up to $25 short of $26,000 to do contract costs. Let's bring in the plumber, the landscaper, the snowplow guy, all those kind of expenses. The second page is the MRBP budget. This is the, we have 7 families that live at the Upton Inn that we help pay their rent. The state gives us the money and we forward it to them. We calculate what the state share should be, and we get an admin fee for doing that. So that admin fee is used to help pay administrative expenses. So you'll see all the expenses in this program. There's no maintenance, no utilities, because we don't own these units. So it's picking up a piece of the salaries, a piece of the accounting, a piece of the administrative other, a piece of the workers' comp bill, and a piece of the payroll taxes. Same story as always. There's no cap in here. You just got to live within your means. If you have all 7 units, all 12 months, you would make $175 in this program. Typically, we're usually down a unit, month or 2 on occasion, so we might not make all that money, but we're budgeted to make a little bit. We don't need to make any. You can't spend it anywhere else. So we try our best to make a break-even budget. The third page shows that cap calculation, shows the 3% increase allowed in your budget from 107 to 110, and the extraordinary maintenance exemption of an additional $8,000 to be added to the budget this year only, which, whether you earn a subsidy or not, let's say our water bill gets cut in half for some reason, and we weren't going to earn a subsidy, you would still get this $8,000, as long as you spent it as you designated, which we'll get to momentarily. Next page just shows the admin salary increase. Page after that shows the maintenance rate increase. The DLI stands for the Department of Labor and Industry. They determine wage rates for all housing authorities based on job descriptions. You can't pay more, you can't pay less. The only time you would pay more is on rare occasions. This rate could go down from year to year. If it ever went down, the current employee would be locked in at the previous rate if it was better. I haven't seen it go down in a decade, but there was a point in time where it did go down once or twice. The next page shows the 2 insurance policies we carry, property and workers' comp. And below that shows the benefits, which is just 3 types of payroll taxes: unemployment, FICA, and Medicare. The last page shows your non-routine, most notably the $8,000 that you're going to get for extraordinary maintenance exemption. I labeled it to be used for apartment rehab. If you come up with something more specific that you need to do with it, windows, toilets, whatever it might be, we can do a budget revision and change it. If it doesn't fit in this description already, that's pretty generic. And I've had 2 budgets approved with that description already for this purpose. So it's probably fine, and almost anything you would do would be covered by that description. You know, basically anything we did inside the unit would be considered apartment rehab. Flooring, cabinets, toilets, wall, paint the wall, replace a window, any of that kind of stuff. In addition, as always, we've budgeted some money for equipment in case we need it. We don't expect to and hope we don't need to spend any of the money, but there's a couple of grand set aside for appliances. If it's not worth fixing one, it might make more sense sometimes to buy a new one. Likewise, maintenance equipment and office equipment. We're not aware of anything that needs to be replaced, but there's no guarantee the snow blower or the lawn mower or whatever other equipment we might have might break down and need to be replaced rather than fixed. So the total non-routine budget is $12,000, $8,000 for extraordinary, $4,000 for equipment. Do you have any questions? If you go back to the first page, I'll point out one more thing.
All right.
The bottom of your first page, operating reserve is 70.9%, projected at year end, and will be 66.8 at the end of next year if we really spend every penny exactly as budgeted. If you recall, minimum reserve used to be 40%, max was 100%, target was always 70%.
Yeah.
You
So
can't
we're
get much closer than you are right now.
Yeah.
It used to be, if you went over 70%, they'd take some of your money and make you help pay for the mod. That rule isn't in place currently, but I would still encourage people not to get much over 70, because you know the state,
Yeah.
they can change the rule
Yeah.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right.
So you're approving 2 state budgets, and you no longer have to sign 6 times like we've made you sign in the past. The new process now, you're going to sign for each budget once on a designated line. It's already labeled, pre-printed for your, with your name. And then that's going to be electronically scanned and sent into DHCD. Once they receive and accept that, then we can actually electronically submit the budget. That original document will stay here forever. It will no longer go to DHCD.
You have said you've submitted some of these and they're.
I've done 2 Junes that have already come back approved. So
Okay, all right.
the ones that got it early, they're really trying to get them out because they're going to get 3/4 on them any day now. You know,
Okay.
the guidelines came out not even a month ago. The Junes are past due, the Septembers are past due, yours is due the end of this month.
Okay.
So they're trying to push through whatever they can, the quick and easy, small ones that are vanilla, like us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
And I used that description twice for the exemption, and they were okay with it, they didn't
Okay.
question it.
Okay.
all right. So we have to approve the cap, which is, this is FY 2017.
Right, that's what it's mislabeled,
Yeah.
the budget form that you're gonna sign is properly labeled.
Yes.
So this is 2017.
Yeah, it's
I've been doing so many of these, I haven't
2017 and not
checked them several
2016.
times.
All right.
This is my 2nd meeting today, and my 3rd meeting in 24 hours.
So,
Another tomorrow.
So we need to make a motion that we accept the budget for 2017, not 2015. So we need to make a motion.
I make a motion that we accept the budget for 2017.
I second motion.
The motion has been made and seconded that we accept the budget for 2017. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passed. Okay. That's
Do
it.
you have any other needs with me? Do you want me to do anything else with you?
Just,
I think that's pretty explanatory right here.
yeah,
I have a question. Can the residents get a copy of what you just passed out?
Once it's approved. It's not an official document until DHC approves it.
And how long will that usually take?
They are officially, once they accept our submittal, which could take a week or two, it's up to them, they have 60 business days to approve it. Just
Okay,
do the math, that's like 3 or 4 months.
right,
And that's if they don't reject it or find some excuse to kick it back.
okay.
Now, I've gone through this twice a month, earlier this month, or actually last month, it's November now,
Mhm.
and they returned 2 of them right away within a week. So
Okay.
I don't know what they're gonna do.
They'll let you
But,
know and then,
They'll send the director an email when it's officially approved, or if they reject it or change it or
Mhm.
whatever they
Mhm.
do, they always communicate that to the director.
do you have a card?
Do I have a
Yeah,
card?
do you have a
Not
business
on me,
card?
I'm just a fee account.
Okay, all right.
I didn't-
And can I review it online?
Excuse me?
If I wanted to review it online?
They don't publish them online even
No.
after approved, which is
Oh,
a little bit disappointing. There's a lot of stuff out there like that. They don't do that.
Oh,
They're kind of archaic in how they approach things.
okay.
Keeps it safe.
I just want to quickly say, we'll be presenting our budget December 14th.
Same
With
250s in there again.
Okay,
All right.
thank
Yeah,
you.
that's all we're, yeah, they haven't changed anything on that.
Oh, okay.
Automatically they
I'll be
will.
getting it.
But that is automatically, I just don't automatically assume that and put it in again.
But we'll
I
have
always
the
want to
sheets
put
and all that
it
for
in,
you.
even if you didn't spend it this year, it wouldn't change your option to spend it next year. So I would discourage them, it's not my decision, but I would discourage them from taking it out.
Thank you.
It's been in there for years, even when you didn't have an organization, in case whatever came up. It's been,
Yeah.
it's up, actually, is it okay with you?
well, it's the chair.
Right, it's not my place to speak unless
Yeah.
you tell me to. Okay. It's been,
Yeah, I have one last question. The $8,000 for extraordinary things, the list of extraordinary is found in a regulation somewhere in terms of what they're calling that particular earmarked for. It's my understanding, I'm just not sure where the regulation is, but
I don't know
when
where
it's
it is either.
extraordinary,
I just know from 30 years of experience what is allowed there and what isn't.
right, okay,
It's
thank you.
pretty open-ended,
Mhm, right,
as long as to maintain the properties in some manner above and beyond what's considered normal,
right.
or excessive amounts of normal.
Well,
You know, it's one thing to paint an apartment, that's normal, but if a place this size had to paint 10 apartments in 1 year, even though painting an apartment might be considered normal, 10 of them would be extraordinary.
sure.
So it's very open-ended on what it can be.
Because one of the conferences I went to, they talked about routine maintenance. Like
Yes.
when you cannot get up and stand on a chair to clean out the vent that's way up high, it's kind of dangerous for older people. So they talked about they wanted to do routine maintenance for something like that, would be a maintenance fee.
That's beyond my scope,
Yeah.
I just record the expenses
Yeah,
and
exactly.
report finances,
You're
yeah.
the vote number.
I don't get into that, I can't keep up with the knowledge I need just to know how to do the accounting, never mind how to manage the places. I have a very small expertise.
Thank you.
I don't even do my own taxes, I just do housing authority accounting. It's painful. Yeah. DHCD's changing the rules twice a year, and you guys don't see it, but it's
Yeah.
also the federal government.
Yeah.
Larger communities have federal housing, so we have 2 sets of rules.
Right, federal.
One's not enough.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Yes, did you want to say anything about Mr. Bowden? Oh, okay. We got a letter from the videographer, Mr. Fowler,
No,
complaining about,
you got a letter from a private citizen.
huh?
You got a letter from a private citizen, not a videographer.
Well, you did.
Who just happens to be video.
Just happens to be the same, but
Yeah, which happens
you
to
have to be
be-
very precise about these things.
Okay.
Yeah. Not surprised, citizen, you sign your name.
Well, no, he is a private citizen. He's not doing this as a videographer. He's doing it as a private citizen,
Oh,
that's
all
all.
right. Well, he mentions that he's a video. About section 26D,
Yes,
we got a letter from our attorney stating that, that this has not really, it's a new section, it hasn't really applied to us yet, but we will put our names up on the board, so,
I think that would be
but
appreciated.
there is a section on the board where in case of an emergency, there is a contact number there.
Okay,
But I don't know if anybody realized that.
That's not for emergencies.
I didn't ask you. I'm trying to state something, that there is a contact number up on the board
I understand that, and he's talking
for
about something different.
emergency. But we will put our names up on the board so everybody can contact us. All right?
thank you.
You're welcome. Next.
Well, let me make a point here, if I might.
Sure.
Madam
Yeah.
Chair. I guess I don't mind having my name on the board, but what I don't want to have happen is people calling us with minor things that should be handled by the director. Our role here is not to run the place. Our role is to set policy. And running the place is her job, not mine, not Millie's.
No.
So I don't mind putting my name up there, but I don't want to be getting phone calls in the middle of the night because, and neither does she. Okay? I just want to be very clear.
I understand, but.
Yeah, I think we ourselves as a board have a right to some privacy. And I know that, I get calls quite a bit, all the time, complaining about personality conflicts. Well, we cannot deal with personality conflicts, I'm sorry. That's between the 2 people or the 3 people. No, it doesn't have anything to do with us, and unless it has to do with the budget or a policy, I'm not gonna listen to it. Because it has to do with the people that are having the personality conflict, period. That's what I have to say. Linda, do you have anything to say about this?
Well, just with the emails and how he stated about being secure and whatever, and the privacy of them and whatever, but yet, and who might be able to see them. Well, when he signed off, his email address is evaglenn@verizon.net, so his wife is gonna be able to see emails that are sent back to him that maybe we don't want her to see, or it should just be going to him.
I don't know.
You have a communal email? Is that the idea?
I have one computer with one email address, and that's more than enough for me.
Okay.
Now, if you require, I can't imagine what you would be sending to me that would be confidential, but a phone call might solve the problem.
Okay. All right. Just so everyone understands the rules here.
Yeah,
It just was conspicuous by its absence that there was no way to contact anybody responsible for operating the facility. If you look inside or outside the building, only thing you see is a little note from CRTA, which is covered up by a postcard at the moment, but at least it's posted.
Well, what do you call that? And that right there, it's got our phone number on it.
I can,
right there.
Right there, there's 2 of them.
There's,
Those
Green-
were never there before.
the green
The
thing,
green one has always been
Always
there,
been
but
there. Always.
That's for the director, it's not for the,
it's an emergency
Well-
number.
Contact number.
Contact
If you
number.
call it, you're gonna get the service, and they will get in contact with somebody.
So that is a contact number.
Okay,
Okay.
But-
well,
everybody knows the ground rules, okay?
I thought he just is here to videotape, you don't even live here.
No,
Yeah,
but I'm a citizen,
you're a citizen, I know,
and I noticed something,
but you don't live here.
I noticed something conspicuous by its absence because I
Well,
couldn't
you
find
should
it.
be part of the group and have maybe somebody else videotape.
What's the big deal?
What's the
It's just
difference?
because
It's a public meeting.
Okay, that's enough.
Jesus.
You know, we're not gonna have any arguments, it's gonna be plain, simple, nice to each other, okay? So,
It is a public hearing, I mean, it's a public meeting.
it is,
Okay, so
Yeah.
he has every right to be here.
yeah.
As long as he notifies us that they're going to, and obviously, we can see that he's doing
Yeah,
this.
but I mean, we should be talking about important things, not like little, you know, like, say there's little
Okay.
postcards, we should be talking about things that have to be done around here and.
All right, that's enough. We're on to the next thing. Okay. We have asked for one,
Oh, a single hearing officer.
yeah,
Yes, Karen Ellis was put in for that.
you want
It
to
was
explain that,
sent,
Betty?
yeah. There was much confusion last month about the grievance panel. And the attorney had come out and spoke with John about it. And she actually has put in through DHCD for a single hearing officer. I was supposed to have heard back by today, or pretty much guaranteed I would have heard back by today, because it's been forwarded over to Laura Taylor. I haven't heard back, but my understanding is that is what it's going to be, because it's taken way too long, and when you can't come to an agreement and we can't get the amount of people together, that is what the attorney has recommended, and that's what's gone through. I did ask her if she would be willing to come out and speak to everybody because of last month, and she's not. She's not willing to come out because she has viewed things too, and it's not something that she's willing to come out and have an argument with everybody, so it's just been put in.
So Laura Taylor or Lisa Taylor?
Laura,
Lisa Taylor forwarded it to
To
Laura
Laura.
Taylor.
Oh, okay.
so that's where we stand
That's
now.
where it's,
A
yes.
single,
Well,
No, that isn't.
No, if we can, I would like to do the CRK meeting and then we'll go to the grievance on that.
You're talking about that now.
that's it.
We're talking about the grievance.
That we're talking, yeah, this is
Oh,
what
you
I
want
was
to finish
told
it?
by Lisa.
Well,
Okay,
Lisa
I
called me
just
today.
asked
You
Betty.
called Lisa today?
She called me, she
She
never
called
called.
you.
She called me today.
Okay, 'cause I
Now,
haven't
who
heard
called
from
you
her.
today? No.
Lisa
Oh,
Taylor.
all right, okay.
We have, and I explained to her that we have 3 people in an alternate, all right? And she's recommend that you get another alternate to cover the whole thing. But she feels that with the 3 people and the alternate, you should just schedule it as soon as possible, the year-old grievance. Because yes, even though the tenants sign off on it with Betty and the lawyer, that doesn't mean a really admission of guilt. She can file another grievance to have a panel hear her beef. And I mean, and it has been almost a year. So basically what we're trying to do is get you to sign off on another person from the town. I have the 8 pages description of the grievance panel with the signature in the back. And then get somebody on board that you can meet and say, okay, let's do it. But I personally don't think you really need that many people to get going if you have 3 and an alternate. If 2 people are gonna get sick on the day of the hearing, I mean, really, 1 alternate is enough, I think, to start getting the hearing going. All right, I mean, she called me today, I was really surprised because I never talked to her.
And I think she's playing one side against the
Yeah.
other.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
what Lisa's doing,
I'd like to put in,
definitely,
she's
because
playing a
she's telling
game.
me one thing and she's calling me, telling me something else.
Here, read this.
It's a game.
It's a game. I have to do with the
You can-
attorney.
you can do it.
The attorney's already submitted this.
And Lisa
And
told you
Lisa
it
called
was
me
going.
and told me that she forwarded it to Laura.
Now, who is Lisa Taylor? What does she
This
do?
is,
She's a
the
project
manager.
manager.
Wait a minute, hold on.
Yeah.
First of all, Brandy
Yeah.
and Pam, this is CRTA business right now. Let us conduct this from now, please.
Just asking a question because she called me.
That's
outside.
okay, it's okay.
So basically, that's, I mean, that was a few hours ago.
Lisa is supposed to be representing the housing authority.
Yeah.
And it sounds like she is playing both sides.
Mhm.
And I think we need to speak with her about this because,
Yeah.
like I said, as the director, she's calling me and she's telling me one thing. Now, obviously, she called you today and she told you something totally different than
Right.
what I've been told. So maybe we need to go higher.
Yeah,
Maybe we
Yeah,
need to
that's
go
fine.
higher.
I went high.
Yeah,
We should
because
go higher to
I
the,
think so, because it just doesn't sound right.
Right.
It does not sound right.
we should go higher and find out about exactly what the state regulations decide about a grievance panel for a local tenants organization and for the housing authority.
Like, I think our attorney who handles like a number of housing authorities, Vinnie, wait a minute,
Yeah,
22 years. 'Cause she wrote in.
without a
saying-
tenant organization.
No, with tenant organizations. 22 years, Karen Allers has been an attorney for housing authorities. This is not something, this is not new to her.
no,
Okay? She knows the laws, because should something happen, she's the one that goes and represents the housing authority.
Mhm.
So she's not gonna advise us to do something that could potentially put us in a situation. So she knows what she's talking about. So I need to go, I am responsible, I have to go according to what she tells me. If I go into something different than what she's saying, she's not gonna represent. Right. So I think what I'm gonna do is on Friday, I will call higher and find out what's actually going on, because she's giving conflicting information to both sides.
yeah.
Could I make another statement? We've been talking about this for over a year now.
Yes, and that's
Okay.
why the
We
attorney.
had-
Very frustrated.
And we agreed that we were gonna have a three-member panel with two alternates almost a year ago. And here we are, in November, after last month's issues with, huh?
We had a vote.
Yeah.
And the tenants
Yes.
not.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, if anybody can read the state regulations regarding a grievance panel, it's very clear, you don't,
It's a no-brainer type thing.
right,
But you're saying three members and two. Our attorney's saying 3 and 3.
That's
So
just-
we have to go by what she is
No, we
saying,
don't.
and that's the
No, we
bottom
don't.
line.
well, according to the, okay, whether it's 3 and 3, it really doesn't make a big difference. That you have to elect a chairperson for that panel, and they have done that.
I thought they did that.
They did that. They've met twice, the panel, to discuss what they need to do, go over rules and regulations regarding the grievance panel. They elected a chairperson, Frank.
Yep.
And we have 3 people, and we also, on the Tenants Association, have a alternate set up. We were waiting, and have been waiting for months, for the Housing Authority to appoint another person as an alternate.
Well, today over at Dunkin' Donuts, I ran into Donna Distratus, and she said that she was told that the grievance panel had been disassembled.
Disassembled, dispersed.
Who said that?
Donna, this job.
Specifically.
Who told her that?
That's what I asked, that's what I said, this is news to me.
Yeah,
And this was just this morning over at Dunkin' Donuts. getting
and Donna
coffee.
is your person,
So,
right?
who knows?
Well,
There's so much
So
talk
we
going
get
on
all
out
this
there, it's
conflicting-
crazy.
All right,
It's crazy.
and I'm
So
sorry
I'm just
because-
gonna call, I'm not in on my Friday, I'm gonna call on Monday and find out what's going on. I'll see if I can get a hold of the attorney tomorrow from my house, but I'll do my best for Monday to try to get in touch with, find out, because Lisa calling and doing that, I really feel it's,
She's always done
Yeah.
that.
yeah, both sides.
do you think that it's possible to have a resolution for this panel by next month's meeting?
Well,
So that
certainly
we
hope
have
so.
it?
Oh, my.
I certainly hope so.
I
Yes,
thought we had,
I did
We
too.
did too.
Frank.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I
got
thought
plans
it was
and
all set.
everything.
I'd like to make a comment. All I'm gonna say is the Appendix A, which calls for the 3-member panel, on page 4, quorum. Reasonable efforts shall be made to have a 3-member panel and decide each grievance. 2 sentences down, If a panel member, his or her alternate, or both are not available at any time reasonably convenient for the other panels, 2 members shall constitute a quorum and may render a decision. I was asked to point that out to people. It's in Appendix A, so I'm gonna state again, a year, and when I get a letter from the executive director saying they have diligently searched for another member, that is so untrue. You've heard this, these people have all year long sent to the executive director.
Pam,
It's been a 3-member, and now we're gonna wait another month.
Pam,
All because, and I talked to Amy Steitley, I'm gonna tell you this, Amy Steitley took Sarah Glassman's place, she called me today, all right? So you can talk about Amy Steitley, Laura Taylor, and as high up as you can go is Amy Steitler, who is Sarah Glassman's replacement for maternity leave,
Okay.
and Sarah was already out here last year.
All right. You said enough, okay. John?
Oh, I want to finish our CRTA business. Last month, as you remember, I mentioned our petition going around for assigned parking. First of all, the car that was sitting here for two years gone. So thank you. We have an extra spot.
Yeah.
But we really, you know, as a CRTA, we are supposed to really take part in these policy, correct? Yes?
yes?
So I would like to schedule like as soon as possible. Basically, I want you to, you know, make a copy of this petition, agree on it, get a yellow can of paint and a paintbrush, and I'll take care of it.
Why are there two?
I mean, we can, I'm just saying, basically, that's what I want to have a meeting for. At your convenience. Can we have a meeting? And just, I mean, we'll just sit down and
But why
have.
are there only, there's always 2 assigned parking spaces, why is there 2? And not anybody else?
Okay. Now, the
Well, I
parking,
don't want to go into it. Go ahead.
the parking policy, there are no, and I'm gonna say it again, and I don't care who calls me a liar. I have been on this board for 28 years. I've been through every director that was here. There was no parking, assigned parking. I don't care who said there was. This is how it went. When Barbara was here, she said, if the tenants get along and decide, oh, you're gonna park here, okay, that's all right. And you're gonna park here, and you were nice enough to agree with each other that this one parks here, that one parks there, okay. But there was never assigned spots. She didn't say, oh, you're getting this spot, you're getting this spot, you're getting this spot. That was not true.
Why?
And it is not true. And there are no assigned spots, and there isn't going to be any
There's
assigned
stickers
spots.
on the handicap. One for Linda,
Except for
one's Rachel.
handicaps.
Well, handicapped is a completely different
But
issue.
That's-
Linda's number of
I didn't
numbers
ask
on
you to
hers.
speak yet. I didn't ask you to speak yet.
I'm just telling you,
I am
you know
making
that.
a statement.
Mhm.
Please do not interrupt me. So
you
what
can
I'm
park anywhere.
saying is, there were never any assigned spots. Handicap, everything has changed because of the handicap rules and regulations. The state has changed things. So please, please, just try to get along. I mean, we've revisited, and revisited. The attorney wrote up a statement about the parking. We had a meeting last year. We all agreed on the parking. And I think it was in the residents, tenants, contract. You all signed it, and now, you know, there's all this business, you want assigned parking. Right now, I'm gonna tell you, there'll be no assigned parking.
So they can park anywhere they want if they're handicapped. Okay. There you go.
Other than the 2 other than there's like 5 of them that actually have assigned parking.
Why do
for
they have
handicap.
assigned?
Because they have actual specific needs that they cannot walk more than so many steps.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes. I have doctor's notes.
Really?
Go ahead and
Yes.
say it.
Yes.
If you have a
I'm gonna
doctor's
say,
You
the
don't
more
work here. You have
handicapped
no
thing in
idea.
your
You do not work
family is
here.
a three-legged dog.
Go ahead and say
Do
it,
not work
Brandy.
here.
Brandy,
Oh.
you are done.
That,
You shovel like
You
everybody
shouldn't
else.
live
even
here.
open your mouth.
okay, that,
That's uncalled for. She needs to leave.
I'm leaving. I'm just
Good.
saying, the only handicapped thing in your
Good.
family is your three-legged dog.
Good.
I would like to make a comment about the parking policy because the original lease that I
Excuse me,
have.
this is CRTA business,
Yeah,
we're done.
no drill. We could keep it to that for now.
yeah,
All right,
It should
last
be up for
November,
review. It should be up for review.
yeah, exactly. Last November, when most of the tenants signed off on the renewed policy, we weren't formed yet. We were approved November 18 as an association, so we didn't have an input in it. But I am demanding that we get, because inclement weather is gonna come in 2 months, and I'm telling you, there's gonna be problems, because people much rather have their own spot, they dig them out, and nobody else can take it. And there's plenty of room to put, I mean, it doesn't
But
cost
John,
anything.
don't you
Yeah.
understand? The attorney has said it cannot be. If we had 40 parking spots, because we have 40 units, if we had 40 parking spots, then possibly, but because we only have 24 parking spots here and 40 units, and because of the handicap laws being what they are, it is not possible. I understand you're saying you want to make the parking spots smaller, narrower, so that maybe you can
Yes,
have more.
it should be. The lot
They've
of
already
people
said,
park
then
weird.
that'll be, I've talked to her, okay? We're gonna have problems, people are not gonna be
No.
able to back out of their spots without, or open
Especially
their
up
door,
at
right,
the top.
with the snow, right?
With the banking.
And it's been said over and over again in Boston, it needs to stop, or we're gonna end up losing the parking that we do have up on the hill there. It's not our land. They get wind of it, they can put a fence up, people are complaining because of a tree fell on it, okay, they don't wanna be responsible. If something happens, they can be sued, it's not our land. You guys are gonna ruin it for yourself.
Elgin,
yes.
maybe you recognize. And I hate to be redundant, but the fact of the matter is, and whether it's the parking policy or not, I'm glad for the information Betty just gave me, okay? But we haven't had that dialogue where, again, according to the state regulations, we do have, as a tenant organization, have the right to have input into the parking policy. It's not whether you guys don't want it or not, we do have that right. And all I'm saying is, as a board, we'd like to have that input with the board about the parking policy. And whether the board designates the power to the executive director, that's fine with us. We're just saying that we'd like to have some input into that. There are certain things that are, that happen that we'd like to discuss with, if you give that power to the executive director to make that. That's all we're saying. But I don't want to be redundant, but we have that right to have input into all policies concerning the safety and the welfare of every resident that lives here. So,
But see, when I talked to the attorney too about coming out to discuss the parking policy and the grievance, she didn't want to come out and do this because of what keeps happening here. We're not getting anywhere with it, we're saying the same thing over and over and over again.
well,
And so it's just as bad as we feel about it. We wish that we
Yeah,
had 40
yeah,
parking
yeah.
spots here.
Right.
well, that doesn't change the fact that we still have a
You
right
have a
to have
right,
input into
you
the
have a
policy.
right to have an input in it, but
Yes,
it's
and we
not
are
going to
listening.
change
What's
that.
that?
And we're listening.
to you now.
Yeah, you're listening now, but you're telling us that there's not gonna be any parking.
There's
there's
not gonna be any
assigned
assigned
parking.
parking.
Right, you're telling us. You're not, there's no compromising here. You're making a decision.
It's called
without-
respect. That's what it was when I
That's
first
what I
moved
tried
in
to
here.
tell you. If you all agree to a certain parking spot, okay, say, okay, I'm gonna park here, and your neighbor agrees to that. Like, when Barbara was here, she agreed. She'd say, okay, if you park here, and that's where you're gonna park, and your neighbor agrees that's where you're gonna park, and they're gonna park there, and you have respect for each other, well, that's all well, fine and good. But if everybody's fighting over, I want to park there and somebody else wants to park there, it's complete chaos.
Let's say someone's,
Is it going to be complete chaos? Is it always going to be complete chaos because nobody can agree with each other?
well, let's say someone's son or daughter or relative comes and visits, and there's no it's snowing out, and there's no parking over here.
I'm parked
What
across
happens?
the street. I almost
I'm
got
talking-
hit.
no,
But
I
I'm parked
understand,
across
Marcy.
the street. I'm a member of the board. There's no parking for me. I'm not worried about it. I park across the street, okay? So I'm parked illegal. Well, that's how it goes. But, you know, so what I'm saying is, you need to agree with each other. You need to get along with each other and decide what you're gonna do. Please, let's have a little bit of peace here.
Again, my question is this, if it's snowing and there's a relative staying here overnight or for the weekend, okay, and I come back and my place is taken because there are no spots here, as a tenant, what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to go illegally park next door?
Well, first off, you shouldn't be if you have a relative staying here.
Not
okay?
me.
No.
But you
I'm not
should
saying
say, but you
anybody,
just,
anybody.
okay, if anybody has a relative staying here, they can't park here. There's no
Well,
spot for
that
them.
happens though
But
here.
they shouldn't be.
They should.
They
Well,
shouldn't be. The
So
parking
then we should be doing
So
something
just by
about
having the
that.
sign parking, you think it's gonna stop somebody
I
from
doubt
doing
it.
that?
I doubt it.
I doubt it.
Well, that may be the case, but I'm saying that there are people that come and visit and park here,
But they shouldn't be.
They
that
should,
they shouldn't be.
Right, we
should
say
not.
that there's
This
no
is-
parking
well, the
for
thing
home
is,
health aides,
do we
there's
have-
no parking for family members or anything. But you know that coming in.
do we
Well,
have
you know what I mean.
resident-only parking
Residents,
signs?
Yes, we have, but there's not a sign up.
Okay,
and
so we
maybe not
have
just
it
say
posted
that.
as for residents-only
They're
parking.
told this over and over again. I reiterate it every time
And
somebody moves in
if
here.
anybody has a visitor, they've got to make clear to them that they
Cannot
cannot
park.
park here. Okay?
Okay. Well,
That's how it goes. I'm sorry.
no, it's not.
I'd like to comment about parking.
We're gonna need parking up there.
14 spots.
14 spots, we're gonna lose them.
But, okay.
Billy, may I be recognized?
Just a minute. Let me ask, John.
John?
Anything else?
No,
No?
Well, our business is done.
our business is done.
Okay, thank you. And I'm sorry it has to work the way it does, but that's it. Now, okay? Pamela.
So I'm gonna talk about parking for a second. I just want to say that originally Stephanie Giancola was here and she said it's an illegal parking policy. I had a recent conversation with Lisa Taylor. She said that's an illegal parking policy. The executive director does not decide who's more impaired than somebody else. You are asking people who are impaired, you're pitting them against each other, and that is sick. That is wrong. So the minute that you guys sit there and say you don't respect somebody else doing something, this is the kind of parking policy you have set up, is the impaired people are all gonna vie for where the handicap things are. And I resent being told that we are disrespectful to our fellow neighbors when I have been told by 2 different DHCD people that it's an illegal parking policy. The parking policy originally in this lease was stated here. There's been another one dated in June, another one, and you revised it, but it was the same thing. We were told to write a petition, and people started signing a petition on this parking policy, and that is dated November 15th, so that's a year old. I'm just going to say that Betty's attorney, the DHCD attorney, seems to have a lot of clout and power. That's what I keep hearing her say. The attorney wants this. The attorney says this. 22 years with this lady as a DHCD attorney. We are trying to say as residents, because we do have an association, we have our rights to negotiate and compromise. And the board needs to put things to a vote and be willing to have input, whether it's a grounds policy, a parking policy. We don't rewrite leases. That you cannot do. But these policy things are the reason we even organized. So I have already written a letter to Betty on October 19th about the parking. I have pictures of people blocking the fire lane with the snow and everything. And I'm just hearing you people say, this is the way it is, and it's just too darn bad. And I want it to go on record. We do like our neighbors. We do respect each other here. And you're asking people to do the impossible. And at one point, I pulled in late at night. There was no place. And I said to Betty back when I was talking to her, I'm going to be in front of the dumpster. And she said, oh, no, you're not. So we do have a major parking problem. DHCD, I'm told, is going to find us 6 other spots. That's not enough for the doctors, the hospice workers, and the people who reside here. And I just want that to go on record.
Okay.
And I want to call people's attention to the Upton Daily. When the people in town were very mad at the post office, at Rebecca's, it was all over the local online paper about parking. And I think you would solve the issue if you just gave the people who lived here their own spot. And right now, there's a brand new sign up there that Betty has put up that says residents only. It's on the lower part, and it's right up there.
Oh. Well, you had your say. Thank you, Pamela.
That's just on parking, so when you're ready, I'll cover the other things. Are you on to me at the agenda now?
I was eyeballing that candy.
This is Margarita Morales, for people who don't know. She came in late, and she's with Mass Public Housing.
Mass Union of
Mass-
Public
It's
Housing.
not on the agenda.
Oh, she's not on the agenda? No. I just thought it would be good to introduce her. I know that Judith McGee has met her at the training. So she's here.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. That's all I have to say. Hi.
I'm going to talk for a second about,
Yeah.
are you on my part, Millie?
Yes.
Okay, I wanted to, for a second, I wanted to talk about the grounds policy. It was, the board decided to have a subcommittee or a committee on the housing from the CRTA to have a grounds policy that we're going to review this. It took us a while to come to that terms, but that's in the minutes at one other point. There so far are Emily, Rachel, Elaine, Ty, Christine, myself. We have not organized as such. We just have gotten together, said we'd like to have some input on this, and they will be selecting a chair. We're just in the process of doing some background work, and some housing authorities such as Hopkinton, Framingham, Uxbridge, Grafton, Milford, Marlborough, Southborough. We're just taking a look to see what is it that they do in other places, and then we will submit something that we do expect the board to do some negotiating and some compromising of compared to what we currently have in place here. So I wanted that to be just not forgotten, and to say that during the winter months that you will hear more from the people that will be coming up with what they would like to see implemented. And again, I'm going to reiterate what Benny has said, and John, is it's time to do some compromising and some negotiating. Just because something has been in place for a few years doesn't mean that we're stuck with that. And I will remind people here that the reason we now have a television hooked up is I did a little groundwork, a little research, and we found out that most community rooms do have public cable coming in for people to enjoy. Second,
No, that's great.
oh, I'm sorry, I don't mean to go on to something else. If you'd like to respond, I'm more than willing.
Yeah, well, we'll take into consideration your committee for the plants and.
Thank you. And, you know, it'll be the dead of the winter, but we'll come up with.
That's all right,
and
that's the best
we're
time to do
working
it.
on it, right. Thank you very much, Millie.
I'm trying to understand, what do you mean by, what are you talking about when you say grounds policy?
Oh, things like flowers and
Flowers.
plants and
Oh,
bushes
okay,
and,
okay.
you know, it's not parking. Parking is a separate issue. Yeah,
I know the
I'm glad you said
We're
that.
on to,
Yeah.
we're on to the plants.
Okay, thank you. That's good to clarify. I'm going to make a comment about the tree that fell on the car. I don't park above a dead tree anymore. I park somewhere else where there's not a dead tree, because I did have a second tree come down on the property. It came down in not technically my backyard, but just behind my backyard. The wind blew it down. It's still back there. It's laying all over the place. The chair of the selectmen came over and we walked around and looked at some things. Jim Brochure has been on the premises, and he knows that's the second tree that fell. And I just wanted to correct something that was previously said. We do have an abutter that is the Prime or the Sun Oil, and then we have a property line that is also housing authority property, and that is the tree that fell in the backyard. And last month, I think it was, John was talking about trees being above our heads on the sidewalk where we walk to our places, and also above our bedrooms. So I'm going to suggest that that somebody take a look at the trees who is from DHCD, when especially it's our property. I understand that people are worried about losing parking place, but I have the property map with me, and I explained it to Betty in a note. The parcels belong to the town of Upton, the housing authority property, and then the Prime. And John also, I believe, made a copy of that. So just to be sure that there's property that belongs to us, and I'm pretty sure DHCD would be able to come up with money to take down dead trees. And they just need the work order, and they need to have it called to their attention. Mr. Brochure is going to have the town tree warden tag those, and he can't do anything other than have him come over and tag some of the trees that look like they could come falling down. The one that fell on Richard's car and hit the roof and knocked the mirror off is, it wasn't even a windy day from what I understood. I came back from out of town and I couldn't really park with all the debris in there. Secondly, well, I want to also talk about, since the winter is coming, we need in the back two buildings big buckets and access to the ice melt that we did not have access last year. And I know there's ice melt buckets in the front two buildings, in the front of the door, in the back of the door, and for some reason, and I can remember a person who was a member of the CRTA, I think maybe, I don't know what went wrong. All I know is the selectmen, if they have to, they will furnish the buckets, they will get some of the things, the sand and the ice melt from the town, and it's not their job to do that. It's the job of this place to furnish the ice melt so that we are not in danger when we walk either to our cars or to our places. And I know it says stay in there until you can get out safely, but some of us do have to get out and get moving. So I would like them, I guess I would like you guys to vote to have that happen. I know last year there was a tidy cat thing, Millie, you gave it to a resident who no longer lives here. She wasn't able to carry anything, and that's not our job. Our job is, if you're gonna furnish it in the front two buildings.
Let me stop you for a minute.
Okay.
Pamela, she asked me for a bucket, okay? I brought her a bucket. I did not, it didn't matter what it was a bucket. I gave it to her, I didn't have to. I drove from my house with the bucket. I said, well, here's the bucket. She asked me, could you get me a bucket for some sand and some salt? I said, sure. Is it my job to fill the salt and the sand? I brought the bucket, period. Did I get a thank you? No. She said, why didn't you fill it with salt and sand? What good does that do me? So how do you like that?
I don't think it's wise to talk about somebody who no longer lives here. I'm just
Well,
saying.
you brought it up.
I am saying that why do the front two buildings get this and the back two buildings get nothing?
Because
It makes no sense to
Yeah.
me. Can you give me an answer for that?
But we have a contractor that comes through here that's supposed to supply the salt and the sand, and I think does a good job. That was very rude.
Plowman?
Yeah, he did a very good job.
He's very good.
And so that's what I got for bringing somebody a bucket. So, you know, it kind of discourages you a little bit.
Well, 93-year-old Luella didn't need to have, she could have used
Yeah,
it.
but
You know, it's a
Pamela,
matter of the rest
mentioning
of us.
somebody's name that lives there, you're not supposed to.
You know, I think that's something, Pam, that, you know, if we don't have a bucket there, you know, that we should approach Betty and just say, Betty, there's no budget, whether somebody took
Or
it
Dean,
or.
they grab Dean for everything else out there.
Yeah.
We're
You
not
know,
allowed to talk to
constantly-
Dean.
You
We
guys
have
are
been told
always
to
talking
leave him
Dean.
alone.
They're always.
Okay, that's
So,
enough.
yeah.
So what's the answer?
So-
Do we have buckets like the front two buildings, or do we not?
Okay,
You
we'll
will.
take it to slow walk.
They have.
We'll make sure you do.
And then it can be filled with the ice melt instead of locked in the red shed, right?
Hopefully.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Thank you.
all right. All right,
That will how many is?
anybody want to make a motion?
I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
We will check.
I second the motion.
Motion's been made and seconded, we adjourn the meeting.
Have
Have a nice day. 7:10.